What happens when you take the most iconic, gas-guzzling luxury SUV on the planet and give it the full electric treatment? Tonight, we're about to find out. Mercedes just unveiled its 2025 electric G-Class, which it's calling the G580 with EQ technology. And we're here in Beverly Hills at the reveal with all the jaw-dropping details. Mercedes first surprised us with its EQG concept at IAA in 2021. Now, it's heading to production, but with a somewhat more straightforward name. At the time, we had almost no details, but now we're learning everything about the upcoming electric off-roader here in the wilds of Beverly Hills, California. A simultaneous reveal happened in China at the Beijing Auto Show, so maybe heavy off-roading demonstrations aren't in the cards for today. But the electric G-Class absolutely has off-roading credentials. It comes with 4 independent electric motors, putting out a combined 579 horsepower and 879 pound-feet of torque. Each motor has its own 2-speed transmission, giving access to a low gear with 2-to-1 gear reduction for off-roading, and the 4 independent motors mean the car can vector torque to whichever wheels need it, even better than a locking differential. 4 wheel motors also means the G580 will be capable of what Mercedes calls G-turn, its branding of what we've previously seen referred to as tank turn when Rivian was working on it, but later abandoned and pivoted to front dig mode instead. This means it will be able to do 2 full rotations on the spot by spinning the wheels on the left and right sides of the car in opposite directions at once. However, this feature is more of a toy, just for fun. Mercedes also has a G-steering feature, which is sort of a mini version of the G-turn, which will help you make extremely tight turns by activating torque vectoring and giving you just a little bit of spin. Though unlike the EQS, it doesn't have rear-wheel steering. Neither of these features will be great for tire wear. The G580 can climb up to a 100%, that's 45 degrees grade, and hold stable on lateral slopes of up to 35 degrees, ford 33.5 inches of water, 6 inches deeper than the gas version, with 9.8 inches of ground clearance, a 32-degree approach angle, 30.7-degree departure angle, and 20.3-degree breakover angle, with independent double wishbone suspension in the front and a solid DD-on axle in the rear. To help you see where you're going, the G580 has a transparent hood feature, which uses a camera to show what's in front of and under the car on the internal display. This is crucial for off-roading, because if you're going over a ridge or something and can't see under the hood, the transparent hood can help you see where you're going. But it's also a Mercedes, which means it's luxurious inside. And the 2025 model will be particularly fancy, as it's only available in Edition 1 trim, with lots of exclusive interior and exterior touches. Edition 1 will have a limited number of color options, but you can customize later editions of the car basically any way you want through Mercedes' manufacture car customization process. So whether you're conquering a real jungle or just the concrete jungle of Rodeo Drive or Las Vegas for the latest cryptocurrency convention, you'll feel right at home in the Mercedes G-Class. That luxury is certainly needed to justify its price, which Mercedes hasn't yet released, but said that it will be in the ballpark of the G63, which starts at around $180,000. In terms of exterior design, the G580 is basically the same as the gas G-Class, with the same boxy design. Unlike many EVs, it doesn't adopt a particularly curvy exterior and still has a textured grille area. The decision to stick with a traditional-looking grille goes hand in hand with Mercedes' recent decision to add a more classic grille option to its EQS. And it turns out, if you want the G580 with the traditional G-Class grille, you can just get the standard grille, directly from the gas version if you prefer it. But then you don't get those cool lights. And overall, Mercedes said it was very important to maintain the overall design of the G-Class, so it hasn't tweaked it to make it look electric, other than some grille modifications and a couple aero bits. Mercedes says the vehicle has optimized aerodynamics, which was surely a primary design intent of this vehicle that consists solely of straight lines. But actually, there have been a couple small changes, like a slightly modified A-pillar and a strip above the windshield to smooth out the front edge of the roof. This balances out to a drag coefficient of 0.44, better than other G-classes, but worse than, say, a Tesla Semi. As for details on its electric drive capabilities, the aforementioned 4 motors can sprint to 60 miles per hour in an estimated 4.6 seconds and reach a top speed of 112 miles per hour or 180 kilometers per hour. These aren't the fastest numbers out there, but the car isn't meant to be a race car. Mercedes could have gone with a bigger battery or more power, but that would have meant other compromises elsewhere, and Mercedes said that it was far more important to focus on the total package. Mercedes hasn't told us a range number yet, but with a 116 kilowatt-hour battery and a face that's even flatter than its electric triangle on wheels competition, we can imagine it's somewhere in the mid-200s. It's 473 kilometers on WLTP, which is 293 miles, but WLTP is a little more lenient than EPA numbers. More importantly than overall range, Mercedes says the G-Class will DC charge from 10 to 80% in 32 minutes with a 200 kilowatt peak charging rate and an 11 kilowatt AC charge rate. That maths out to an average charge rate of approximately 150 kilowatts on DC over the full session, which is reasonable, but not great. Also, the models we saw had CCS, not NACS. Given the car's big 116 kilowatt-hour usable battery, it still doesn't charge nearly as fast as a Hyundai or Kia eGMP car, but it's still reasonably good compared to other chunky EVs. The G580 weighs approximately 6,800 pounds or 3,085 kilograms, with a GVUWR of exactly 3,500 kilograms, the maximum allowed by German law. Part of that weight is a 127-pound inch-thick carbon skid plate under the car to protect the battery during extreme off-roading tasks. A steel plate would weigh approximately 3 times as much. The G580 comes with 5 regenerative braking settings, including Mercedes D-Auto setting, where the car intelligently decides to apply regenerative braking based on traffic conditions. We recently tried this setting on the e-Sprinter, but struggled to find a situation where it would be useful. Regen activates off-throttle, suggesting the possibility of one-pedal driving, but we haven't had a chance to try it out and see if its max 217 kilowatt regen braking capacity is really strong enough to avoid most brake pedal usage. It also has a feature Mercedes calls G-Raw, a noise generator that allows you to simulate various electric drivetrain noises. Thankfully, this can be turned off. For a final cool electric touch, the car has done something new with its iconic rear end. In place of the spare tire carrier that typically adorns the backside of the G-Class, there's an optional compartment which can be used to store charging cables or the like. You can still opt for the spare tire too, but I really like the charging box. Mercedes was mum about what sort of electric-to-gas sales mix it expects out of the next generation, but it says that it has retained significant flexibility in its production plans, so that it can adjust based on what customers and dealers ask for. It doesn't plan to tell its dealers to push one or the other, which probably means the dealers will push the gas model, Psy, and its manufacturing partner Magna Steyr is ready to adapt to wherever the market goes. Look, this is a G-Class. It's a statement car. It's an image car. If you like it, you know that you like it. Personally, I don't, but I also don't post on Instagram, so I guess I'm not the target audience. For the majority of drivers, its off-road capabilities really won't matter all that much. But it's still cool that it has them. What matters here is whether it stays true to the G-Class, and as far as we can tell, it does. It looks like a G-Class, and it feels like a G-Class. The doors thunk closed like a G-Class. And an important note, Mercedes said, if the G can go electric, any car can go electric. We, of course, agree. This is a car that has been defined in many ways by excess, with the gas version getting just 14 miles per gallon. And yet here it is, in electric trim, with a huge battery, but not out of line with other huge EVs, beating the gas version's performance both on and off-road. As for the name, while G580 with EQ technology is a bit of a mouthful, I actually like the simple designation G580. Surely people will refer to it as the electric G-Class or the like, but by giving the car a regular model name, Mercedes is saying that it's treating the car like a regular car. Instead of putting EVs into their own separate sub-brand, Mercedes is saying that this is a G-Class, and if you want a G-Class, this is that. Mercedes was clear that this is not a rational vehicle, that its customers don't need a G-Class, they want a G-Class. So there you go. If you want a G-Class, this is a G-Class.